Welcome to Monday Morning Moves. My name is James. I'm your fantasy football advisor. It's week 2. You're still watching. I'm still spewing out advice. This week I'd like to talk about wide receivers first. I believe that they have more value, especially over the course of the entire year. I'm going to start off with Andre Hopkins. First round draft pick by the Texans this year. He is a rookie. I normally would not recommend any rookie wide receivers, but he's had some serious production. Andre Johnson possibly going to be out next week because of a concussion. And he does have a history of being injured throughout the season. So this is a solid person to have on your team for the entire season. He plays in a dome, baby. Always something to consider. And this past week, 7 receptions, 117 yards, a touchdown, 13 targets. That's the kind of player you'd want to have on your team. Eddie, what have you done for me lately, Eddie? Let's talk about Eddie Royal. Eddie, what have you done for me lately, Eddie? You've done a lot. 5 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. Now that's not going to continue. If it is, it's not going to continue. But definitely somebody to have on your team. Malcolm Floyd out at least another week. That in mind, Eddie Royal will be getting significant playing time. A significant target for Phillip Rivers in their offense. He's going to be the first and last Charger I recommend, but he's somebody to have on your team. He's got tremendous talent. He's not been in the fantasy world for quite some time after his rookie season, but he's got the talent. Go take a look at some tape with him making D'Angelo Hall look like a fool, and won't be hesitant to actually add him on your team. He's got speed, he's got hands, and now he's got an opportunity. Go get him. I'd now like to talk about the running back position. There's a number of running backs for you to consider. Joique Bell, probably owned in your league. If not, definitely one to consider. Reggie Bush, sustaining some injuries. He's already been getting a significant amount of playing time with Reggie Bush. If Reggie Bush is out for any of these games in the future, then this guy is definitely somebody that's going to be getting a good amount of work. Not a workhorse back by any means. I do believe Mikel Shore will be a part of that, but definitely somebody to have on your team. He's scoring fantasy points now. He'll score even more if Reggie Bush is out. Probably not available, but if he is, go get him. Other players that are possibly more likely to be available. Let's start off with Knowshon Moreno. He did a number against my Giants this past week. He is part of a committee in Denver, but he is going to be the most reliable out of them, and that will make him the most valuable. Coaches don't like it when running backs fumble, and he does not do that. That team is going to be putting up lots of points every week. They're going to be getting ahead, and they're going to, take that lead and try to run down the clock with that guy named Knowshon Moreno. Get him on your team. I believe he has probably the best long-term value over the season than any of these other backs that I'm recommending. Next, I'm going to mention James Starks, possibly going to be added the most this next week. Obviously, he had a very good week. And with Eddie Lacy concussed, possibly out a week, maybe more, James Starks is going to be the primary running back there, and the Green Bay Packers are running the ball more than they normally have been in the past years. I just don't believe that James Starks is going to be putting up the kind of numbers that he just did this past week. They were, they were beating the Redskins pretty handily, giving James Starks an opportunity to run the ball a good amount of times, giving him, the solid numbers that he had this past week, 132 yards, a touchdown, even 4 receptions for 36 yards. Good week for James Starks. He's definitely a player to put on your team. Is he going to have that kind of production every week? I highly doubt it. Is he going to have value throughout the entire season? I'm not sure about that, but he is a good player. I do like him. He should be on somebody's team. Make it happen. Finally, let's talk about Bernard Pierce. He should already be somebody's handcuff. He's already getting a good amount of work as a running back with Ray Rice. Ray Rice left this past week, in the middle of the game. I don't expect Ray Rice to miss next week. I think he's going to play. That's the kind of player Ray Rice is. He doesn't have much of an injury history. He's tough. But somebody to consider, especially if you have Ray Rice as your running back. Finally, I'd like to talk about last week's recommendations. It's a little segment I call Keeping Them Honest. I could talk to you about the players that I did feel were successful additions to your team, but I'd rather just talk quickly about the players that I found were a big letdown. Well, big is an exaggeration because hopefully none of my recommendations are big, but big letdowns. But the ones that possibly are borderline letdowns: Jerome Simpson, only 2 receptions, 49 yards. He did have 5 targets, and he does play in a dome, baby, which will help as the season continues. But not maybe one that won you your league this past week. Nor was Terrell Pryor anything special. Only 50 yards on the ground and no touchdowns. Sorry. Hopefully you didn't start him. Should still be owned. Should do much better in next week, in weeks coming up. Not sure about Jonathan Dwyer. He still has not yet played. Hopefully he will do something special. I got my mom playing him tonight, and she needs some points. So Jonathan, if you're listening, make something happen. Mike Tomlin, play the guy. He's your best back. And that should be it for this week. The other guys, they did pretty good, especially in PPR league. Nate Burleson, thanks for making those catches. I'm still believing. I'm sure there's some other people believe that you can still be that kind of player. And that's it for this week. And I need to come up with that tagline, but it's going to be probably more of a rotating one. But this week, I'd like to send my tagline out to all those lovely ladies out there and say, in the dark, it's all about the moves.